Hello, in this video, we are going to go ahead and code linear search. So I have my project open over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new package. So I'm going to go ahead over here, add a new package, and I'm going to call this linear search. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create a couple of classes. The first one is going to be my main class. This is going to have public static void main. I'm going to check this over here and I'm going to do finish. I don't need this comment over here, so I'm going to remove this comment. The next thing, I'm going to go ahead and create another class called linear search. I'm going to call this class linear search, and this class is going to have my algorithm. Let's go ahead and create our function. Next, I'm going to create a function called search, which is going to have the algorithm for linear search. This is going to be public. It is going to return the index number, which is going to be integer. So the return type is going to be int. And I'm going to simply call this method search. Okay. My search method is going to get two inputs. The first is going to be an array of integers. I'm going to call this input array. And the second parameter is going to be the number that we are looking for in the array. So this is going to be integer as well. I'm going to say number to find. It is going to give us an error because I haven't specified a return. I'm just going to mention return -1 so that I don't have any compilation errors. Okay. The next thing is we are going to loop through the array. So for that, we are going to use our for loop. So I'm going to code our for loop. Okay. It's going to start at index 0. It is going to go up to the last index and then increment by 1. I'm going to go ahead and format this and then proceed. The next thing is, as you are looping through, we need to do the comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and compare using the if statement. And what are we comparing? We are comparing the current element, and the current element is going to be input I with the number that we are trying to find, number to find. If we successfully find, then we need to return the index number that number was found at, which is going to be I. If this loop completes and we haven't had our line number 8 hasn't been executed, it's going to go to return -1. This means that the number does not exist in the array. I'm going to go ahead and format this, save this file, and then I'm going to go to my main and then call this function and see if this is working. Go back to my main. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the array. So int, I'm going to call this input array is equal to new int array. And then in curly braces, I'm going to pass the numbers. I'm going to go ahead and copy those numbers from our PowerPoint, our slides, and then simply paste those numbers over here. Okay, so this is our input array. And the number that we are trying to find, number to find, we're trying to find the number 6 in this input array. Let's go ahead and call our function. So the first thing is I'm going to instantiate an object for linear search class, since I created a new class for that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and call that function. So I'm going to say linear search my object dot search, and I'm going to pass an input array and then the number to find, and that's it. Okay. Now remember, this function is going to return the index number. So let's go ahead and save that index number so that we can print out on the console to see what is the index number. So I'm going to say int index found, and we will go ahead and print this statement out. I'm going to say index found, and this will allow us to see what is the index number. So in this case, if my algorithm is correct, it should return the number 4 because 6 is present at index number 4. So let's go ahead and run this algorithm. And as you see on the console, it says 4. So this means my algorithm was able to find number 6. The second test was if I pass in a number that does not exist in the array, for example, number 14, which should return -1. So let's go ahead and run this algorithm and see if -1 comes up, and it does. So this means my algorithm is working correctly. Now there's one thing I would like to do is refactor this code, and it's a small thing. This code is perfectly fine, but I do have 2 return statements, and I don't like to have multiple return statements in my code. I would prefer that we only have one exit point. So in this case, again, this is not going to make the algorithm any efficient or anything. It just so that I only have one return statement in my code. What I can do is I can create a variable over here and say int index found and start with a initial value of -1. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to set this index found as I. Okay. If this is found, I'm going to add a break statement. What does break do? Break will break out of this for loop and then immediately go to line number 15. Okay, because once I have found the number, I don't want it to go through the whole for loop again. So that's why as soon as it finds it, it is going to break, it is going to exit out of this for loop, and then immediately come to line number 15. And at line number 15, I am going to return index found. Now, what has happened over here? Now my code only has a single exit point, which is line number 15. Okay. Usually when you have a large amount of code, it is preferred that you only have a single return statement. This way, it is easier to debug. Okay. But just remember, it does not add any efficiency. It does not increase the time efficiency of this algorithm. It's just a different way to write the same code. Now, functionality wise, nothing should change. So we'll go ahead and run this code. With number 14, I should get back -1, which is true. With number 6, I should be getting back index number 4. And there it is. Okay, so this is our linear search. In the next video, we are going to look at and try to understand what is the efficiency, how efficient this algorithm is.